Alright, so today we'll look at the identification of costs and benefits and some of the problems or challenges associated with cost benefits analysis. Alright, let's start by looking at the problems of cost benefits analysis. We know that CBA basically is an economic tool that is used to analyze the accuracy of public investments or public policies. Its trust is based on economic efficiency. Okay, but at times, in as much as the economic analyst is trying to analyze the impacts, the benefit, and then the cost associated with a particular policy, there are some issues or challenges that this analyst may face. And then these issues are put into two. We have the technical challenges or the technical limitations, and then the fact that at times the projects are undertaken not on the basis of economic efficiency, but the pursuance of other goals. Okay, instead of thinking about economic efficiency, there are other goals that I mean public policies can also achieve. So basically, the problems are grouped into two: the technical ones, and then the fact that it's even possible that those who are undertaking the project will be thinking about other goals instead of making economic efficiency as the main goal for the project. So for technical limitations, they normally happen because of omission errors when the analyst is unable to totally get the full impact, the full benefit, and then the cost associated with the project. And also for forecasting error, when you are doing ex ante CBA, the CBA that is done before the project is actually implemented. After that, after you do the ex ante, you are using it to predict the benefits and then the costs that are going to be associated with the project. And at times, when after the project has been implemented and you do ex post, and then the objectives that were laid down in the ex ante do not tally with the ones that we realized from the expo, then it means that there were some forecasting errors somewhere. And also, after you've been able to lay down the benefits and then the costs associated with the project, valuing them or measuring them is also an issue. So these are the various technical limitations. Let's take them one after the other. Let's begin with the omission error. Now, we should understand that it is not possible for an economic analyst to do CBA and not to omit any impact. It is not very possible. But then what we try to do is that definitely some of the impacts are going to be omitted, but we should try our best to minimize it. Okay, we should try our best to minimize this. Now, most of the times when there are differences in the physical impact of the project, when we are not very certain of the physical impact of the project, it normally happens that we tend to forget some of the impacts that might associate with the project. Okay, so we tend to leave some of the impacts out, being it benefit or cost. And at times too, when the project is of a grand scale, something like if the thing is for the entire nation, then it's more likely that we will omit certain impacts than if the project is just a smaller one in nature. So the larger the project, the more likely it is to leave out some of the impacts, being it benefit or cost. But as I said earlier, definitely there's no argument about the fact that there would definitely be an omission error in CBA, but then we try to minimize this errors. Okay, so this is the first issue with CBA. Then we have problem with forecasting. After you've done your S&T, you are using it to predict something into the future, but we know how uncertain the future is. It's very possible that there might be technological changes between the time that we start the project and then the time that the project ends. And when we have such changes, it will alter the impacts of the project. At times, to before the implementation of the project, we had certain specifications, but along the way, there were some alterations that will also render the initial S&T null and void. So at times, whenever, because but we normally have this problem of forecasting because the future is unpredictable. There's so much uncertainty and risk in the future. So we tend to make some predictions that might not actually work out in the future. So it's we have forecasting error because of uncertainty, okay, concerning future stuff. It's even possible that how we value the cost and then the benefits now might not be the same as their values in some time to come. So we tend to state values that might be a bit different from what actually happens in the future. And even at times too, you are undertaking a project, so you are stating the impacts and then the impact, the cost, and then the benefits of the project. But there are times where we are not fully aware of how the project is going to impact people. Is mostly true with new projects that have not been undertaken before. We don't know how it's going to impact the people that are affected by this project. So if this is the case, then it's more likely our predictions might not be very, very accurate. Okay, because we are not even aware how it's going to happen. So we might make predictions, but then unless the project is actually implemented and the impacts really known before we can actually or fully understand the extent of the impact, the physical impact of the project. Okay, so whenever we have forecasting error, then it means there's going to be a difference in the S&T and then the S-post CBA, because the S&T gave the predictions, but during the course of the project, there were some technological changes or some strategic changes, and we didn't actually realize what was stated in the S&T. So when the S-post is done, the CBA that is done at the end of the project, we realize that some of the impacts that were stated in the ex-ante wasn't actually realized, or even if they were realized, they were not just as they were stated in the ex-ante. So we tend to have that issue with the comparison. Now, we normally tend to have this forecasting error when the project has a longer lifespan. Okay, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So the longer the time that the project is going to last, the higher the level of forecasting error. Okay, but if the project isn't really going to last for long, then something like technology doesn't just change overnight. It takes time. So if the lifespan of the project is very short, we might not realize any technological change, which means the predictions might not be affected, even though there might still be some issues there, some forecasting issues. It wouldn't be as much as the case where the lifespan is very long. And we can also have this forecasting error when we don't use the right discounting rate. You see, because we are comparing costs and benefits from extreme from the lifetime of the project. So we have to bring the future values, the future impacts, the future costs and benefits to the present time. We have to discount it. So the choice of discount rate, if we don't choose the correct one, that one too is going to bring us issues. So these are the causes of the forecasting error. And then we have the measurement and then the valuation errors. The first one, we're talking about the omission error. let's for a moment assume that this analyst has been able to list all the impacts, okay, all the costs and benefits associated with the objective of this project. Now, after he's been able to do that, how do they even value them? How do they value the marketed impacts, the non-marketed ones? Because there are some impacts that cannot be valued in monetary terms. So how do they do that? That's why they normally use the shadow price, and they assume competitive prices for those impacts. But I mean, does the shadow pricing actually reflect the value of these goods and all that? So even if we are able to get all the impacts, valuing them, giving them values, assigning the measurement is also an issue. Okay, so but if you can actually increase the accuracy of your CBA, then you need to make sure that you are truly valuing the impacts of the project. Because if you don't value them well, then the decision after the CBA might be totally wrong. Okay, it might be totally wrong. What if because of this valuation issue, you gave so much value to benefits and less values to cost? So if we have to use something like the NPV, the net present value criterion, then we are going to say that we have to go for the project. But what if it wasn't actually so? Like in reality, it wasn't like that. The costs were rather more than the benefit. So we really need to be careful when it comes to the measurement and then the evaluation of those impacts. All right. The other issue is about the case where people want to undertake the projects not with economic efficiency at heart. Yes, it's true that some projects are not implemented because of its economic efficiency, but because of other goals, something like equity, maybe national harmony, peace, and all those stuffs. But then they tend to overdo that. We know how these politicians act. As soon as we forget about this economic efficiency thing, they try to fill their pockets. At times, they even overstate or overvalue stuffs. They want to construct roads. They know that the cost of constructing the road is 10,000. They can say it's 15,000 just to pocket the extra 5,000. And when it happens like that, efficiency wise, you see that it will be totally off. And because of this political system, there's mostly political patronage. They will try to overstaff a public project, okay, because they have their party members and they need to work and get money and all those things. They just put people where they are not supposed to be. People are there, they are not doing any work at all. So on the basis of economic efficiency, CBA will predict that those people shouldn't be there at all. But because of this political destiny, they have to be taking people, just be wasting resources. Okay, and this self-interest thing, at times they are doing it just for their own sake, just the benefit that they are going to get, not actually what the entire society is going to get. So these are some of the issues that those who do CBA encounter. Yeah, those who do CBA encounter. All right, so those are some of the costs. Let's finally look at the types of cost and then benefits. Remember, for CBA, we are talking about how, in monetary terms, impacts of projects, impacts associated with the objectives of public projects are quantified. Okay, we want to list all the impacts, both benefits and costs, and then we quantify them to know if on the net, are we actually going to get a societal benefit or a societal cost from implementing the project. So we need to know. The analysts need to be aware of the kind of impacts, the kind of benefit and cost that they have to talk about analysis. We know the benefits are the advantages that will result from the project. When we implement the project, what are the benefits that we are getting? And the costs are the disadvantages. Okay, the disadvantages, the things we have to give up, the resources we have to give up in order to implement the project. So what are the types of these costs and benefits that we need to add? Now, let me draw this difference. Okay, the difference in cost and benefits are given by whether they are direct or they are tangible. Direct, if the impact is direct, then it means that that impact is directly related to the objective of the project. So if it's a benefit, then it is a primary benefit. It's part of the main goals why the policy is being implemented. If it's a cost, then it's directly related to the project. But if the impact is indirect, then it's a secondary something. It's not part of the primary goals of the project, but that impact has also been recorded, but it's not directly related to the objective of the program. Okay, if it's a cost to, it's not directly related to, maybe it can be something like pollution. It wasn't part of the whole thing that they are come to do. It wasn't part of the cost, but it is happening because of what is going on. Or it's even possible that the project is going to make sure that some people are not even getting jobs to do. Maybe where they are doing the project, some people used to work there. Now you have to sack those people and all that. The cost that those people are going to incur, what they will be feeling, it's a cost though, but it's not directly related to the implementation of the project. So that is for direct and then indirect. Then we have tangible and intangible impacts. The tangible ones are the ones that can be valued at market prices. Okay, they can be valued at market price. The intangible ones cannot be valued at market prices. So the first one, we have direct tangible benefit. So this benefit is a benefit that is directly related to the objective of the project, and it can also be valued at market price. Okay, so this kind of benefit will directly affect societal welfare, and it can also be valued at market price. Then the second one is direct intangible. So the intangible benefit. So this benefit is directly related to the objectives of the project, but then it cannot be valued at market prices. Okay, it cannot be valued at market prices. Please, let's take note. It's a benefit, so it actually increases the community's welfare. Okay, it doesn't reduce it. It increases the community's welfare. Okay, and then we have indirect tangible. So indirect tangible benefit means that this is a benefit that is not directly related to the objective of the project. Okay, but it can be valued at market prices. It can be valued at market prices. That is indirect tangible. Then we have indirect intangible benefit. This one, the benefit is not directly related to the project, and it cannot be valued at market prices. It cannot be valued at market prices. Okay. It cannot be valued at market prices. Then let's look at cost. Cost too, we have the same thing. We have direct tangible cost. So cost that is directly related to the project and can be valued at market prices. Okay, can be valued at market prices. So this one reduces societal welfare. Okay, and then direct, the second one is direct intangible cost. Direct intangible means the cost is directly related to the project, but it cannot be valued at market prices. And then we have indirect tangible. The cost, the indirect tangible cost is not directly associated with the project, but then it can be valued at the market price. Okay, and then indirect intangible. For indirect intangible, this one, the cost is not directly related to the project, and then it cannot be valued at market prices. Okay. So these are practical examples of projects that we can do CBA on. Construction of a dual carriage road from Madina to Kwashima. Construction of an irrigation dam. So all these things are examples of projects, public projects that we can do CBA on. All right. Okay. So this is where we end on the costing, the various types of cost and benefits under CBA.